Dear Radiant Leo, the heart-led fire sign, let me ask you something bold. Have you felt lately that everything around you is crumbling, but deep down, something hidden is about to break through? Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, where we don't just read stars, we translate the whispers of the universe into truth you can feel in your bones. You didn't find this video by accident. This is a destined encounter. Something pulled you here. A secret buried beneath the surface of your life. Someone hid something big, and now, the universe is preparing to reveal it to you. The timing of this message is not random. The stars are aligning to dismantle what no longer serves your path. And while things around you may feel like they're falling apart, you, Leo, are not collapsing. You are rising. Because you didn't build your world on illusions. You built it with faith. There's a sacred shift happening now. The kind of shift that doesn't just shake circumstances, it awakens souls. And Leo, your soul is being called. That deep sense of unease you've been feeling? That strange silence before something happens? It's not your imagination. It's the cosmic signal that what's been hidden can no longer stay in the shadows. You are not here to chase truth. You are here to embody it. You've always known that there was more beneath the surface. More to the story. More to the relationships. More to the struggles you've endured quietly. And now, just now, you are arriving at the threshold where silence gives way to revelation. Let me take a moment to offer my deepest gratitude for your presence here. Every time you like, comment, share, or subscribe, you're not just supporting this channel, you are becoming part of something greater. You're helping to build a space where healing, truth, and cosmic connection flow freely. Your support makes it possible for us to keep bringing messages like this to those who need them most. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And trust me, beloved Leo, you will want to stay with me until the very end of this video. Because what the universe is about to uncover is nothing short of extraordinary. The secret that's been held back from you, about you, is unraveling now. And it's not coming with noise. It's arriving through synchronicity, through signs, through stillness. But make no mistake, it is coming. So tell me, my loyal Leo souls, what have you felt in your heart that drew you here today? What made your soul whisper, I need to hear this? Comment below and affirm, I built my life with faith. Say it not just to be heard, but to activate the energy that's already been waiting for your permission to rise. Because this moment is about you reclaiming your power, not through force but through alignment. You are not here by accident. You are here because you are ready. Stay with me, because the truth that's been waiting is finally making its way to the surface, and it's going to change everything. Leo, if you're still here, it's because something inside you recognizes this moment not as chaos, but as calling. After all, you've always had a fire that refuses to go out. Not the kind that roars for attention, but the kind that quietly sustains you even when the world misjudges your strength. That flame in your chest isn't just personality, it's purpose. You are the sign of solar truth, ruled by the sun itself. And what is the sun if not the heart of light in the middle of every storm? Right now, the cosmic winds are shifting in powerful and uncomfortable ways. Pluto, the planet of deep transformation, is whispering truths buried beneath the surface, while Mars, the warrior of the Skies, is activating your instinct to rise, to protect, to choose truth over illusion. That combination is no accident. You're being initiated, not tested. And in this initiation, you're not being asked to fight harder. You're being asked to let what isn't real fall away. You see, sometimes the greatest act of courage isn't in holding everything together, but in letting the false pieces break apart. It's in allowing the old structures, the people, roles, identities, beliefs you've clung to crumble if they no longer reflect the light inside you. That light doesn't dim when something ends. It actually grows clearer, because there's less shadow blocking it. The truth is, we often mistake permanence for peace. But peace, real peace, comes not from what we can control, but from the freedom to release what was never meant to stay. The tarot cards that speak to you now, the Sun and the Tower, are not in conflict. They are partners. One represents the clarity of who you truly are. The other, the necessary collapse of illusions that kept you playing small, or playing safe. When the Tower appears, it can feel like loss. But it's actually a mercy. It's the soul's way of clearing space for what is authentic to finally emerge. And when paired with the Sun, that means your essence isn't being destroyed, it's being revealed. So if you've recently felt like the ground beneath your feet has shifted, or if something was taken from you that you didn't see coming, pause and ask, was that thing ever aligned with your deeper truth? Sometimes what feels like betrayal is actually protection in disguise. Sometimes what leaves your life is not punishment, but a clearing. And what's being cleared now is not your power, it's your prison. There's an old teaching passed down in silence, one that says, only when the cup is empty can it be filled. If your life feels like it's spilling over with endings, take heart. This is not your failure. It's your preparation. Let go of the version of you that thought you had to keep proving your worth. Let the structures collapse if they were never meant to hold your truth. Your radiance isn't built on perfection, it's built on presence. This is your sacred fire, Leo. Not the fire that burns down recklessly, but the one that warms, transforms, and makes way for new life. The kind of fire that shakes loose everything false so that you can finally meet yourself in wholeness. You weren't born to live in the shadows of other people's expectations. You were born to illuminate. And so I ask you now gently, honestly, what in your life has recently been stripped away? What felt like loss, but now you're beginning to sense it might have been liberation? Close your eyes, breathe deeply into your heart, and listen. What remains glowing even after the fire? That is what was real all along. Leo, you've always known what it means to carry fire in your chest. But sometimes, the world sees that fire and calls it arrogance. They mistake your confidence for pride, your leadership for control, and your need for authenticity as stubbornness. And yet, what they don't see is the quiet discipline beneath the roar, the inner code of honor that guides everything you do. The truth is, you've never been trying to outshine anyone. You've simply refused to dim. The path you walk is not one of loud declarations, but of unwavering truth. And that truth is often uncomfortable for others, yes, but sometimes even for yourself. Because to live from that inner truth means choosing it again and again, even when the world around you demands something easier, quieter, more agreeable. The energy now is asking you to revisit that choice. To ask yourself, have I compromised who I am to make others more comfortable? Have I dulled my roar so I wouldn't be seen as too much? In numerology, the number 1 is the number of initiation, of sovereign individuality, the beginning of the journey. The number 11, a master number, represents illumination. When both appear in your energetic field, it's a sign not just to lead but to lead from within. True leadership doesn't come from commanding others. It comes from mastering your own integrity. And Leo, that is your gift. You don't lead because you need validation. You lead because your heart won't let you stay silent in the face of what feels wrong. The cards that mirror this moment's strength and justice are not just symbols. They are reflections of your inner compass. Strength is not force. It is patience. It is courage in stillness. It is the gentle power of knowing who you are without needing to shout it. And justice? It reminds us that balance isn't found in pleasing everyone. It's found in living so honestly that nothing inside you feels misaligned. These two forces together create a rare kind of resilience, one that stands firm without becoming rigid, that offers light without seeking control. Perhaps you've felt lately that you're being asked to choose between safety and sincerity. Between staying in a role that offers comfort or stepping into one that feels more true, but less certain. If so, you're not alone. There are many walking beside you, quietly facing the same choice, to follow the path they were told would be wise, or to listen to the silent longing that says, "This is not who I came here to be." There's an ancient teaching that says, nothing outside you can bring peace if you are at war with your own heart. And that is the work no realigning with the part of you that knows the difference between validation and value. You don't need the world to agree with your path. You only need to trust the compass inside you. The more you honor it, the stronger it becomes. The more you abandon it, the more disoriented you feel. Think of the Leo who left a stable job because their soul ached for purpose. The one who chose authenticity over applause. In the beginning, no one understood. Some even laughed. But over time, their courage became a lighthouse for others lost in lives they didn't choose. That is how transformation happens, not in dramatic fireworks, but in quiet decisions made over and over again, in private. So I ask you, gently and sincerely, when was the last time you stood for something you believed in, even when no one else could see your vision? What did it feel like to hold your ground, not in rebellion, but in truth? If you can recall that moment, then you already know what you are being called to do now. The invitation isn't to fight. It's to return to yourself. Not to resist the world, but to rise beyond its need for approval. And that rising is what only a Leo can do. When illusions fall away, they often leave behind a kind of silence, unsettling at first, but ultimately liberating. And right now, Leo, that silence is beginning to echo through the corners of your life where once there was noise, the pleasing, the pretending, the stories others told you about who they were and what they meant to you. With Neptune in retrograde, that fog of illusion is thinning. What was once hidden behind charisma, charm, or closeness is now being revealed for what it truly is. And while part of you may resist looking, another part, the wiser, deeper part, has already known the truth for quite some time. You felt it. The subtle inconsistencies in someone's actions. The tightening in your chest when words and energy don't quite match. The small, repeated moments that your mind brushed aside but your body recorded anyway. That is your inner compass speaking. And under the influence of the moon and the high priestess, your intuition is no longer asking, it's insisting. You are being called to honor what you feel before the world provides you with proof. This isn't about paranoia. It's about precision. And the truth is, some of the people or roles that once felt essential to your life were only passing through. Not everyone you call friend is meant to walk the full path with you. And that realization can hurt, especially when the loss isn't loud, but slow. When it's not a confrontation, but a drifting. But trust that what departs now is making space for something far more aligned. Sometimes the people who exit your life are not taking anything from you. They are returning pieces of you that were never theirs to hold. You might look back on a relationship that once felt like soul connection and wonder how you didn't see the signs sooner. But judgment is not the lesson here. Compassion is. Not for those who misled you, but for the version of yourself who needed to believe it was real. That version of you was doing the best it could with the tools it had. And now, you have different tools. You have clarity. You have inner stillness. You have a deeper trust in what your heart whispers before your mind explains it away. The High Priestess never rushes to conclusions. She waits. She watches. She listens to what is felt but not said. And you, Leo, are embodying that stillness now, not as passivity, but as power. The moon may show shadows, but it also reflects light. And you are beginning to see the outlines of truth in places where you once saw only reflection. This is not betrayal. It's unveiling. It's the natural consequence of rising in consciousness. Your resonance no longer matches the masks. Physically, you may feel the weight of this truth in your body. A subtle ache in the heart space, a tightness in the back or shoulders, the places where we carry what we don't say out loud. These are signs not of weakness, but of holding too much for too long. Gentle practices like morning sunlight meditation, slow breathing, or listening to theta sound waves can help clear what the body remembers when the mind tries to forget. So ask yourself honestly, is there a connection in your life right now that your heart has been quietly questioning? A space that drains you more than it fills you? If so, that's not cruelty. That's clarity. You're not being asked to react, you're being asked to release. To bow not in surrender to someone else's story, but in respect for your own inner knowing. Sometimes, the masks don't fall with a crash. They slip quietly. And when they do, what remains is truth. And truth, Leo, has always been what you shine best in. There comes a point in the Leo journey where the weight you're carrying no longer feels like it's entirely your own. It's subtle at first, the way expectations seem to echo before you ever speak, the way certain patterns keep looping in your relationships, finances, or sense of self-worth. You might ask, why does this feel so familiar, even though I've never lived it before? And that question isn't confusion. It's awareness. Because the truth is, Leo, some of what you carry didn't begin with you. As the lunar nodes activate your 4th and 10th houses, a deeper cosmic storyline is unfolding, one that threads through your ancestral line, through the roots of where you come from and the branches of who you're becoming. The 4th house calls us back into the private foundations of our identity, home, family, emotional inheritance. The 10th house reflects the legacy we shape through our work and public life. When these two areas are activated, it's not just about success or stability. It's about healing the unseen contracts you've been living by, contracts passed down silently, embedded in habits, beliefs, or emotional codes. You might be the first in your family to set boundaries. The first to say no. The first to choose joy over duty, rest over self-sacrifice, authenticity over performance. That doesn't make you a rebel. It makes you a cycle breaker. And that role can feel incredibly lonely, especially when others expect you to carry what's always been carried. But here's the deeper wisdom: you're not just living your own life. You're completing what others before you could not. You're turning unspoken burdens into conscious transformation. The Ten of Wands paired with Judgment reflects this beautifully. The Ten of Wands shows the physical and emotional load, years, perhaps lifetimes, of responsibility without pause. But Judgment? That's the awakening. The reckoning that invites you to lay it all down and choose a higher alignment. It's the call to stop moving out of obligation and begin moving from purpose. In numerology, 19, the number of the Sunnis, not just about clarity. It's about radiant truth, revealed through the very things that once exhausted you. You see, Leo, your light doesn't just illuminate your path. It shines backward, revealing the places your ancestors may have stumbled, the fears they passed down, the dreams they left unfinished. And in some way, you've been entrusted to pick up those fragments, not to carry them, but to release them with grace. There is a teaching that says, we are not punished by our past, we are shaped by how we meet it. And in meeting your past now, not just your personal memories but your emotional inheritance, you have the rare opportunity to respond with presence instead of programming. That is real freedom. Not erasing what came before, but no longer letting it dictate what comes next. One way to do this is deceptively simple: write. Not for clarity, not for publication, not even for closure, but as an act of inner release. Write a letter to those who came before, especially to the ones whose choices or silences may have affected you deeply. You don't need to justify or accuse. You only need to speak what was never spoken and let your voice be the bridge between the weight of the past and the light of the future. Forgiveness isn't a gift you give to someone who hurt you, it's the permission you give yourself to be free. So if your journey lately feels heavy in a way you can't explain, if you've been shouldering more than your fair share without knowing why, take a breath. You were never meant to carry it all forever. You were meant to see it, honor it, and choose differently. Say it out loud if you feel called: I am building my life not to compensate, but to lead. Because Leo, you were never born to repeat the past. You were born to break it open and let the light through. After all the unraveling, all the releasing, and all the quiet realizations that have moved through you recently, something beautiful is beginning to stir. It's subtle, almost shy at first, like a flicker of light in the corner of your awareness, but it's there. And you can feel it, Leo. The energy has shifted. The same fire that once burned in survival is now ready to ignite creation. Jupiter's movement into Gemini is gently nudging you to use your voice, to speak your truth not just as reflection, but as action. Words now carry more than sound, they carry direction. And what you say, how you name your experience, becomes the foundation of your next chapter. This is not about talking for the sake of being heard. It's about choosing to express yourself with integrity, clarity, and intention. Gemini brings an airiness to Jupiter's wisdom, reminding you that joy doesn't come from shouting the loudest, but from aligning the mind and heart so they move together. If there's something you've been afraid to say, something you've been hiding beneath layers of politeness or fear, this is the moment to let it rise. Not all truth needs to be shouted, but all truth deserves to breathe. The Star and the Ace of Wands come through as divine companions here. The Star, with its soft glow, reminds you that hope doesn't demand a grand entrance. It's often quiet, gentle, but persistent. It keeps showing up even after disappointment, even after dreams have crumbled. And the Ace of Wands? That's your green light. The invitation to stop waiting for permission and start. Start the project. Send the message. Take the class. Walk away. Say yes. Say no. Say exactly what you mean. Because this moment isn't about what you've lost, it's about what you're finally ready to build. In the ashes of old versions of yourself lies the clarity of who you're becoming. Rebirth doesn't always feel triumphant. Sometimes it feels uncertain, raw, even vulnerable. But it's real. And that's what makes it powerful. The colors that support you now, rich gold and vibrant orange, aren't just beautiful. They're energetically aligned with your third and fifth energy centers, the power to believe in yourself, and the power to express it. Wearing them, surrounding yourself with them, even visualizing their warmth, can help you feel steady as you step into the unknown with courage. In relationships, this clarity is asking for honesty. If someone in your life requires you to shrink in order to be loved, that is not love, it's performance. You don't need to prove your worth by working harder to be enough. You are already enough, and the right connection will recognize that without you having to hustle for it. Let yourself release the need to earn affection through exhaustion. Your heart was made for mutuality, not imbalance. Professionally, it's time to examine where your energy is really going. Are you building a life that looks successful on the outside but leaves you empty inside? Or are you willing to choose the slower, quieter path that nourishes you even if others don't understand it yet? One simple but profound practice is to list 5 things that make you lose track of time, the things that bring you into flow, into presence. That list is not random. It's direction. Follow it, and you may be surprised how naturally life begins to align. So I ask you now, dear Leo, do you feel like you're standing at a major crossroads? Not because you're lost, but because you're finally ready to stop walking someone else's path? If so, I invite you to share your truth in the comments. Let your energy echo through this space. Sometimes, claiming your turning point out loud is the first act of reclaiming your power. And the world is ready to hear you. And now, dear Leo, as we come to the closing breath of this journey together, I want to remind you gently but clearly that nothing built on fear can last. The illusions, the performances, the false agreements you may have once relied on for comfort, they are already dissolving. What remains is what has always been yours, the truth you built with faith. That kind of truth doesn't scream. It doesn't demand validation. It simply stands unshaken because it knows where it comes from. You've spent this time looking at what was hidden, what was heavy, what was handed to you that never belonged. You've seen how collapse can be sacred, how endings are not punishments but passageways, and how silence can sometimes say more than words ever could. Through each step, you've been invited to listen not to the noise around you, but to the quiet knowing within. And if that voice is whispering now, "I'm ready for something more," then believe it. That's not fantasy. That's you remembering who you are. Freedom doesn't arrive from the outside. No one gives it to you. No one can take it from you. It is a decision made in the stillness of your own heart, a decision to no longer live by rules that were never yours to begin with. A decision to step off the path of performance and onto the path of presence. And Leo, that decision is already forming inside you, simply because you dared to listen today. If you remember only one thing from this message, let it be this: you do not need to earn your worth. You only need to remember it. And the more you act in alignment with your own truth, the more life will begin to rearrange itself around you, not to test you, but to support you. Yes, there will be moments of doubt. Yes, there will be days when the path feels unclear. But every time you choose to move from faith instead of fear, you take one more step toward the freedom that's been waiting for you all along. So let this be your quiet closing ritual, if it resonates. Place your hand gently over your heart. Close your eyes. Take a breath deeper than usual. And say, out loud or in your mind, I built my life with faith. And that is what will never fall. Let those words settle in. Let them echo through your body. Let them become an anchor you return to any time you feel shaken. Because the world may shift. People may change. Circumstances may rise and fall. But the life you build from truth, your truth will always remain. I hope this message found you exactly where you needed it. And if it did, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here, for sharing your energy with eternal mindfulness, and for choosing to walk this path of inner awakening with courage. Your presence means more than you know. Every like, every comment, every subscription is not just support for this channel, it's a ripple of intention, a signal to the universe that these messages matter. So before you go, I have a gentle invitation. What was the moment in this video that spoke most deeply to you? What truth surfaced that you hadn't fully named before? Share it in the comments. Let your words be part of the healing that flows here. And if you feel called, write this affirmation as a commitment to yourself. I have been seen. I am free. Because you are. And you always have been. You just needed to remember. Until next time, Leo, may your fire keep you warm, may your truth keep you steady, and may your light guide others home. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and stay connected with us here at Eternal Mindfulness. The universe still has so much more to show you. And we'll be right here when it does.